Government imposter scams. Now,
oh my gosh.
Now I do know that this one is legitimate.
Yeah.
It's
a major problem.
It's a major problem,
Yeah.
and I've heard anecdotally
Yes.
of clients' parents that have fallen victim to this one.
Yep.
They get an email, they get a call from the IRS saying they're overdue.
Yep.
They have an overdue balance, but they're behind on their taxes, and they're
Right.
going to have a lien put on their house, or something bad is going to happen to them. They're going to go to jail. Someone's going to come after them if they don't pay their taxes immediately.
Right.
Give us your credit card info. Give us your debit card info. Right. Give us your bank account. And because it's the IRS, you get scared, right? And you think that you need to act quickly because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to go to jail, right? Same thing with Medicare, Social Security, any representatives.
All of those, yes.
They don't call you.
My dad is one of those people who says, I will never fall prey to this. I will pick up the phone. I will respond, and I will tell them, and I won't repeat what dad would actually tell them. But here's the thing. The people who are doing this kind of thing are really good at it. You've said it several times. They only got to get it right once every now and then to make a pretty good living doing this. If you think you are going to outsmart these people, don't be naive about it. They've done this thousands and thousands of times before you got the call or the email or the text or however they're communicating with you. They are experts at working you into giving them something. And you may say, well, I'm not giving them my credit card number. Okay, fine. What happens if all they're doing is trying to get you to give up the last four of your social or your date of birth or one more little piece of evidence? Then they've got some of your other information from other sources and they piece it all together. So don't think you can outsmart them. Just don't respond in any way. Please, please, please.
Hello, and thanks for joining us again for another edition of the Retirement Planning Happy Hour. Eric Douglas, Chris Vaughn, Family Wealth Planning Partners, located here in Louisville, Kentucky, where we are experiencing the absolute best and the worst of all the weather has to offer here in the month of March.
In the same day.
Sometimes in the same day, yes. I was going to say the month of March, but definitely sometimes in the same day, for sure.
We had a great weather warning that came out in Shelby County, where I live, from the emergency response team that said that they spun the weather wheel and it landed on all of them.
Yep, it'll do that.
Welcome to Kentucky, right?
That's a pretty good analogy. Yes, that's a pretty good analogy of weather in Kentucky sometimes, especially this time of year. So, but anyway, here we are. It is actually sunny again, so we'll take that for what it's worth. A little interesting topic today, a little bit different for us, but it's interesting because, once again, all of our topics come from client conversations. Yeah. And randomly, we have had enough conversations with clients that have been exposed to themselves or had family members fall victim to some type of scam.
Scams, yeah.
Financial scams, where they've lost money or they've had identity theft or something has happened, but basically kind of all under the umbrella of some types of scams that are occurring out there. And it's really become eye-opening to me in talking to some of these clients, how much they are getting exposed to it or how much is coming at them. Because it's one thing maybe in my generation, because I'm in my 40s. So I'm in that sweet spot where I'm like the oldest millennial, the youngest Gen X, but there was a time before the internet, but I grew up with the internet, right? And kind of as the advent of the internet, became a thing. And so I was exposed to these things pretty early, and I kind of know what to look for and how to see them and spot them, and just maybe a little bit more aware of, anything online relative to most people older than me. Right. So maybe I just kind of take it for a grain of salt that, these scams are out there. Who's actually really falling for this? And I've just had enough interesting conversations lately where just very close to home here, people are really falling for these things. And I don't think I really appreciated truly the level of exposure that seniors have to these scams, just how much they are preyed upon and targeted with some of these different things.
And I would add not just how much they're exposed, but the sophistication that is coming after some of these seniors now is just amazing.
Yeah. And I think most people don't fall for these things.
Right.
But I mean, most of these things are probably just so, to use the term AI or computer generated or whatever, that they're just, throwing out a huge fishing net and they're going after everybody because it's so easy to do now. All they have to do is reel in a couple different fish and they can make a pretty good profit from it. Right. So that's essentially what's happening. And it's just so easy to get targeted. And I started even thinking about myself. I'm just getting, I mean, I don't answer my phone anymore
Oh my gosh.
unless it's like my wife or one of my kids, or like I know the number. If I don't know the number, I'm not answering the phone anymore. That's how bad telemarketers and political calls and all those things have become. In emails, phishing emails and junk emails, it's just become so prevalent for me now. And I think most of these are just I'll even add another one because I administer our website. I'm kind of the administrator for our website.
Right.
And we have a contact us feature on our website. So when you go back, behind the scenes of our website,
Yeah.
I was just doing this earlier today, as a matter of fact, the number of quote unquote leads that we get on our website where it's really just scam, virtual virtual assistant services, or they're just, just spewing you, with AI, stuff coming across the desk, and they're just searching for websites and searching for contact us pages. Right. So it's just interesting how much of that is just becoming so readily accessible.
You made the comment about spam calls. I don't answer my phone anymore. I was just thinking while you were saying that, last night I got home, my wife and I were just sitting there relaxing, eating dinner. And I am as guilty as anybody. My cell phone is sitting there on the table, right? Sure. The number of times that my phone rang from the time that we sat down to eat until, I don't know, a couple hours later when we started kind of winding things up for the night, that came up on the phone, potential spam.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got 5 of them, maybe 6 of them, right? It's amazing how much of these we get. So if you think you're immune to this, oh my gosh, right?
No, I think just the sheer, overwhelm of the amount of stuff that is thrown at you on a day-to-day basis. And I'm saying this is someone in my 40s who's fairly adept at spotting this stuff, right? The point is, we're talking about clients that have been exposed to some of these scams, and we'll go through what they are.
Right.
But, you're talking about seniors, maybe even early stage Alzheimer's, dementia patients, right, that are seeing some of these things, and they're just pulling out their credit cards and debit cards, and, it's becoming an issue, right? So all that to say, do you want to introduce the bourbon or the whiskey?
I was about to say. So
today, we're going to be drinking today?
Not a bourbon today. This is a whiskey. This is Traveler. Now, it's Traveler Foolproof. So, first of all, this is a Buffalo Trace product, just like so many other great whiskeys and bourbons that the names. This is another one of those whiskeys that has a famous person attached to it. And we've had comments about, usually if there's a great story or there's somebody's name on it, that's usually not a good sign.
Red flag.
Red flag. So first of all, Buffalo Trace is not publicly telling us why this is a whiskey as opposed to a bourbon.
I was going to ask that, yeah.
So I did ask one of the people who was doing a tasting. I was actually up at the distillery to pick my sister up. She and a friend went up there for a tour, and I said I'd come pick them up when they got done. They were doing tastings of this right out there in the gift shop, and they made it very clear this is blended, and whatever the blending is, it is preventing it from being called a bourbon. So that suggests that the corn is below 51%, or there's any number of things it could be.
I'm sure that's probably what it is.
This is an American whiskey. All bourbon is American whiskey. Not all American whiskey is bourbon. That's probably the easiest way to remember it. The name that's attached to this one is Chris Stapleton. So if you're a country music fan, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The Traveler whiskey has been out, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. And Eric, you said that you had never tasted it.
I've not had it, no. But I make it a point. Usually, if there's a celebrity involved, I usually don't taste it.
I have tasted it, but I have never purchased it because I have, during those tastings, thought there's a reason why they put somebody's name on this, because it's not that good. There's a reason why they're pushing the product, because they made a boatload of it and they realize nobody likes it. So when they did a foolproof version, I'm like, okay, when you go foolproof, remember, foolproof is the amount of proof that it had when it went into the barrel. So when it comes out, whatever the proof is, they water it down to its original entry proof or full proof. Usually it's going to have a lot more flavor to it. So I tasted it. Now, granted, you're tasting out of those little disposable plastic cups, and anybody who says that the glass doesn't matter doesn't know anything about tasting things. But I said, okay, I'll buy a bottle. I want to say it was $45, $50. I don't remember, but it was not overly expensive. They had lots of it at the distillery, and they made it very clear that there's going to be a lot of it available out there in the market. So it's going to be easy to find. And the release was done Valentine's Day this year. So it's only been out for, 6, 8 weeks. I will tell you that when I actually opened the bottle up with some friends and we tasted it, everybody had Traveler and didn't like it. And they were all really pleasantly surprised by this one. The foolproof does make a big difference. So that's what we're drinking today. We'll find out what Eric thinks here in a minute. But let's talk about scams.
Let's do it.
All right. Where do you want to start?
Well, you printed out a list of common scams that target older adults. And these are some of the ones that these include a number of the ones that we've seen clients fall victim to. And really what I'm seeing is not so much our clients, it's usually our clients' parents. And if we're talking about our clients, most of our clients are going to fall in that 50 to 60 age bracket, right? So if we're talking about their parents, obviously we're talking about elderly parents. That yes, could potentially be early stage Alzheimer's, early stage dementia, or just not very technically astute, right? So we figured, we go through this list and kind of go through some of these scams to watch out for, what they are, and how they work.
All right.
So the grandparent scam. Scammers pretending to be a grandchild or a loved one in trouble and ask for money quickly, usually via email, via text.
But it's becoming much more sophisticated that with AI out there. This actually is one of the most terrifying to me of all these
with
scams.
Voice, yes.
Yeah, because they can replicate voices. They can even replicate video. We've now seen it. I mean, turn on Instagram and you're going to see this. Working with the charity that I work with, we see this kind of thing where an individual somewhere, and this is the reason I personally will not put my kids on any kind of social media, even though my youngest is 18, so they're adults. I don't put them on social media because I don't want to expose this kind of thing. They capture video, pictures, things like that are out there on public sites, and they put it through some kind of AI process, and they can actually replicate the video, the voice, whatever, and then they call the grandparents and say, I'm in trouble. I need money. Well, how many grandparents don't want to help their grandkids out?
Yeah.
Right. And therein lies the problem with this one. Yeah. To your point, I think the bulk of these are probably still done via email. But it is becoming really, really sophisticated. My first thing is, how do you fix this? How do you prevent this from happening to your family?
Well, they're going to get targeted.
Without question.
I don't think you can prevent it from being targeted, right? It's just a matter of education.
Yeah.
And this isn't really a topic of conversation, I would imagine, for most families around the dinner table.
Yeah,
right?
Because we love sitting around and talking about scams at the dinner table
right?
and at family events, right?
As much as families love talking about money, I can't imagine how much they love talking about stuff like this, right? Because this is a very, very specific subset of money. But I mean, it's interesting you talk about AI because just seeing on the surface what's capable, what AI is capable of doing, that is the one thing about AI that's going to be very, very interesting over the next few years. And I'm looking really towards the next presidential election. Not so much this year, we're in a midterm election year this year, but I think in the next 2 years, we're going to see some pretty good advances. It's going to be really interesting in the next presidential election, how much of these, conversations or videos are doctored or, you're going to see ads with, maybe.
Can you believe what that candidate actually said that or did that? Even though there's video evidence, can you believe it? Because AI can doctor it very convincingly.
Yeah, and I've heard that there's people in the law community that are really concerned about that from a from a trial standpoint. How much is video and audio evidence going to be able to be utilized in cases? So. That's definitely one of the scams that we've heard about. I don't know personally any clients that have fallen victim to this one specifically, but I know that it's out there, and I know that this is definitely one of the more prevalent ones where you're preying on older people's emotion and send your money, send your money here. Well, I guess I should probably add, if you ever get like a Venmo request from your grandkid over an email, it's probably not them.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
If they're getting a PayPal request, that's probably not going to be them, right? But but definitely something to watch out for. Once again, they don't have to work often.
Mm-hmm.
They only have to work a few times.
Right. Simple solution for this one. So your grandchild is calling you. Grandma, grandpa, I'm in trouble. Send me money. I'm going to hang up the phone and I'm going to call you right back. I would assume that you have your grandchildren's cell phone numbers. That's one that I've heard. If they say, no, 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 you can't break the connection, something's up. Right. So just use your head on this one, folks.
Mhm.
It's not that hard to avoid, but it is. If you think you're not being targeted, you're naive.
No.
So, all right, let's move on.
Government imposter scams.
Oh my gosh.
Now I do know that this one is legitimate.
Yeah.
It's
a major problem.
It's a major problem,
Yeah.
and I have heard anecdotally
Yes.
of clients' parents that have fallen victim to this one.
Yep.
They get an email, they get a call from the IRS saying they're overdue.
No.
They have an overdue balance, and they're behind on their taxes, and they're
Right.
going to have a lien put on their house, or something bad is going to happen to them. They're going to go to jail. Someone's going to come after them if they don't pay their taxes immediately.
Right.
Give us your credit card info. Give us your debit card info. Right. Give us your bank account. And because it's the IRS, you get scared, right? And you think that you need to act quickly because you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to go to jail, right? Same thing with Medicare, Social Security, any representatives.
All of those. Yes.
They don't call you.
There's the key point there. No, you're right. They don't call. I just said they email. No, they send letters in the mail.
Yes.
That's how they communicate.
As ancient as that is, there is some, I guess, comfort in knowing that if you're going to hear anything from the IRS, it's going to come via snail mail, the same way.
Even though it got there 2 weeks after the due date, right?
The same way they did in the 1800s. And God, I hate this term now because I'm hearing young people use this. The 1900s. Now that we're squarely 26 years away from the generation that I grew up in, right? But but that's the way they communicated in the 1900s back in the olden days, and that's still the way
back in the old days of the 20th century, right?
Yep.
Something I would point out on this one. There are people who are listening, especially if you're older, who are thinking, I won't get scammed by this one. I know that it has to come via snail mail, the old school way, in order for this to be legit. I'm going to pick on my dad, as I frequently do, because I know he's not listening, right? So I can pick on my dad. My dad is one of those people who says, I will never fall prey to this. I will pick up the phone. I will respond, and I will tell them, and I won't repeat what dad would actually tell them.
I know your dad was.
It's colorful.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The people who are doing this kind of thing are really good at it. You've said it several times. They only got to get it right once every now and then to make a pretty good living doing this. If you think you are going to outsmart these people, don't be naive about it. They've done this thousands and thousands of times before you got the call or the email or the text or however they're communicating with you. They are experts at working you into giving them something. And you may say, well, I'm not giving them my credit card number. Okay, fine. What happens if all they're doing is trying to get you to give up the last four of your social or your date of birth or one more little piece of evidence? Then they got some of your other information from other sources and they piece it all together. So don't think you can outsmart them. Just don't respond in any way. Please, please, please.
Mm-hmm. Another one that I've seen. I've seen it. I've not fallen victim to it, but I have seen it. Calls or pop-ups, basically tech support scams.
Okay.
Calls or pop-ups on your computer saying that your computer is infected, your computer has a virus, it needs to be taken care of. Call one of our associates and they'll, walk you through how to fix it. Maybe even requesting remote access or payment for some type of repairs.
Right.
If you are solicited and someone is soliciting you, telling you that you have an issue on your computer, you probably don't have an issue on your computer, right?
Right.
I know that they will do this if you call in for some type of tech support. They will usually want to remote in, and usually they'll do that a number of different ways, but usually they're going to verify themselves and they're going to verify your identity several different ways.
And you started the conversation. That was key.
But you initiated the protocol and you called, some legitimate company, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if someone's calling you, contacting you, if you're clicking on any link, That's probably not going to be very legitimate. You probably don't have anything to worry about. If you did have something to worry about, I would encourage you to find someone local to take your computer to maybe have someone look at it that way.
By the way, for those of you who are old enough to think this way, your grandson or your granddaughter is not the tech support that can get around all the malware that's out there. Do it with a professional source.
Romance scams.
Oh, I love this one.
I think I've seen this one in movies more than I've seen it in person. But the Catfish documentaries.
Yes.
And what was it?
Yeah.
Who was the guy that played for Notre Dame football back in the day?
Oh, yes.
Manti Te'o.
Was it Teo? Something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, the guy that fell. He
had a Polynesian name of some kind. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, some fake girlfriend somewhere. But yeah, romance scams. They build online relationships and ask for money, often for emergencies or travel. I've never seen it, but I hear all the documentaries. I see all the documentaries about it. But especially if you're working with like an older population that might be lonely, you're talking about widows,
there it is.
Widowers that are looking for some type of social connection that maybe don't have it in real life. I've heard stories about older folks definitely falling prey to this.
Yes,
for sure, that don't know otherwise.
And I think you said it right there. It's typically widows or widowers who are going to be targeted here, not because they're trying to create some kind of romantic relationship, but they know that people of that type tend to be lonely, and they're trying to create companionship, right? And that's how they target you.
And they don't know how online dating works. They haven't had to date in a while, right?
You know what? I'm 54 years old. I don't know how online dating works. So yeah, I can only imagine what somebody in their 70s or 80s is going through when they deal with that.
Yep. Here's a big one: charity.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to be charitable, right? Everyone wants to feel like they're doing something to make a difference, to change the world and do all these wonderful things. And when do you want to change the world the most? Usually in the aftermath of some type of a natural disaster.
Yep.
Something has happened somewhere in the world and you want to feel good about yourself and you want to donate money for typhoon relief in Thailand.
Right.
I don't know, whatever the case may be. The wildfires in LA is another example. And I heard all kinds of stories specifically after the wildfires in LA about all these fake charities that were popping up that were just taking people's money, millions and millions of dollars, because they were preying on people's want to feel, compassionate, right? They want to feel compassionate. They want to be helpful. And they want to feel good about themselves in turn for being helpful, right? I think that and you hate to lump charity into that, right? But there is a lot of charity that can be very self-serving, right? But charitable scams, fraudsters are posing as charities, especially after disasters, and they're pressuring you for donations. Number one rule of thumb: if any charity is pressuring you for donations, you run away as fast as you possibly can. And this is I'm going to go on a little bit of a side tangent on charities anyway.
Okay.
You should be, if you are going to donate money to any charity, you should be very much looking into the back workings of that charitable cause. Because there are so many charities that maybe do some level of good work, but if you donate $1, maybe 10 cents of that dollar is actually going to do what you want it to do. The other 90 cents is going to pay for the fancy
administrative costs,
right? And so it's going to the $600,000 charity for the salary for the president of that charity. It's going to the fancy dinner auctions that they're putting on as these big fancy fundraisers to raise money. And it's very little money of your actual donation actually goes to help who it's supposed to go towards, right? So this isn't even necessarily from a scam perspective, although that is very, very prevalent as well. But any charity that you were donating to, you should be doing all kinds of due diligence.
Yes.
I'm going to, and there's some very, very, very popular charities out there.
I'm not going to
mention names, but there are some very well-known names that you always see in the news whenever there's anything going on in the world that, donate to this, donate to this charity because they're the most well-known. And then you look at their overhead administrative costs and they are just so high.
Yeah.
And very few of your actual dollars are actually going to the victims that you want to help. Usually it's the ones that are far smaller, far lesser known. Those charities are usually the ones that are doing the most.
You stole my thunder there a little bit. Yeah. The charities that I think, I shouldn't say I think, that I've seen that the vast majority of the money that's given actually benefits whoever or whatever the charity is supposed to be for tend to be local or even regional. The ones that are national, that are exceptionally well known, some of them are very legit and they do great work. But some of them, the overhead that they have is so high that I'm sorry, that's not the way I would want my money to be given away. So just kind of keep that in mind. The You were talking about this is prevalent after national emergencies, weather things, stuff like that pop into my mind. If you want to help people out after some kind of an emergency has happened and you're not physically capable of doing it yourself, usually the best way to do that is to work with charities that you already knew what they did before that event happened, right? So, for example, when we had, I think it was Hurricane Helene that hit 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, and was devastating in North Carolina, East Tennessee, up into Virginia a little bit. A networking group that I'm in said, "Hey, we'd like to send some money to that." We all thought that was a good idea, but we had to vet which charities that we were going to use, and we came down to two, and we ended up sending money to both of them. That those were well-known charities, and we all knew what they did beforehand. So you were going back to people get calls from all kinds of charities pressuring you into giving money to their charity, whatever it is they're working on. Those are the ones that you have got to avoid at all costs, because the chances of that being, let's call it shady, is much higher than the charity that you would have given to on a normal situation anyway.
So this is going to be along the same lines as
Mhm.
charity scams,
Okay.
home repair scams.
Especially after weather.
Because
Yeah.
we're talking about after weather events or after disasters.
Yep.
So typically, and you see this all the time, and I've even talked to, I had my roof done last year, and it ran through insurance, and I was talking to the insurance adjuster, and he was saying, he just always hears so many stories about these roofing companies that go from town to town all across the company. They're not even really roofing companies. They're posing as roofing companies.
They're posing, right.
They're posing as roofing companies, and they're going from town to town. They're knocking on doors, and they're just saying, "Hey, there's been some bad weather. We've been working on some roofs in your area. Would you like us to give you a quote?" And, they'll give you a quote and say, "Hey, we need some type of an upfront down payment."
Bingo. There it is.
And boom, there you go.
They're 10% down or whatever. Yeah.
And they're not asking for payment in full. They're just asking for a down payment, because once again, they're not just trying to get everything from you. They're trying to get little pieces from everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll take a 10% down payment from you, a 10% down payment from your neighbor, and a few other people in the city, and then they're on to the next.
And I think, I was thinking about, we had a tornado spring of last year here in Louisville, went through the East End. We both have a mutual friend
right by my house
that was touched by. Yeah, went through not too far from where you live. Mm-hmm. I remember on my way home.
Hence the new roof, by the way.
Okay, didn't realize that, but
well, they contributed to it, but anyway. Yeah.
Right, but I remember driving on Interstate 64 out towards where I live, and there is a spot there on the outskirts of town that you can see all of the roofs that had tarps on them, and it was a stripe. It was no question that it was a tornado that did that damage. The reason that these kind of scams work is all of those people need a roofer, right? And by the way, there's hundreds or thousands of other people in the area that are all competing to get the roofer to them first, because who wants to go out there with a tarp over your house?
And the reputable roofers can only do so much.
They can only do so much, and that's exactly the point. You fall prey to these because you become desperate to get somebody to come work on your roof. And the sad thing is, there are legitimate roofing companies in, say, surrounding communities or even surrounding states that are coming here, and they're legitimately willing to do the work because that's where the business is right now. I get that. But they get so infiltrated with these people who, to your point, they're not actually roofers in the argument that we're talking about, or whatever the type of work that's going around. That's where people fall prey. People who are normally intelligent, sophisticated people who can see the scam coming, you'll fall prey to it when you're desperate to get the work done. And that's why this works.
Yep. Lottery and sweepstakes scams. And I'm going to add gambling
Okay.
scams on top of that as
I
well.
want to see where you're going with gambling. I know when I read this, the first thing that popped into my mind was the original email scam, the
The
Nigerian
Nigerian, yeah.
prince. If you haven't gotten an email from a Nigerian prince, I want to know what planet you've been living on, or you're under 10 years old, right? This is like the original scam.
Oh, I remember getting excited like in college when I got like my first one because
I,
I'd heard
I
about it.
remember when it was a physical letter that you got in the mail. It's like, who sent this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one's old, old, old.
Yeah, but you're told you've won some type of a
Yep.
prize, some type of a lottery, and you need to pay some type of a tax or a fee in
Right.
order to receive it, right? And I'll go even farther, not necessarily have to pay to receive it, but we're going to send it to your debit card. We need your debit card number.
Oh,
And I'm using that example specifically because
Yep.
that one was relayed to me just this morning in a conversation.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Where their parent had fallen victim to
Yep.
giving their debit card to someone that
wow.
was
Yeah.
going
Okay.
to be sending them money. So they gave their debit card number to someone and got wiped out
Mhm.
to the point that they actually got fired by their bank.
Oh,
the parent had
gosh.
gotten fired by the bank because they were a liability.
Yeah.
Because they had fallen victim to some scams. But gambling as well. Hey, you played this game. Oh, you've won. Here, let us send you your
Mhm.
payments. And same thing. It's not necessarily a quote unquote lottery, but you play a game and you think
Right.
you won. You think you're owed some type of a payment, and you want to receive your payment. Oh, we're going to send it to you electronically because everything's done electronically now, right? So just give us your bank account information, link it up, and we'll send it to you. And then, the exact opposite happens, right? So this one is legitimate.
Yeah,
I
it's
know,
legitimate. It's common.
yes. And so I do know some folks that have, or know of some specific folks that have fallen victim to this one. So that one is
Well,
very, very sad.
I think this one plays on human emotion. Who doesn't want to win the lottery? Who doesn't want to win something, right? What popped into my mind is that magnificent scene from A Christmas Story where he won, and it's fragile. You know exactly which scene I'm talking about. Who doesn't want to win? And he was excited that he won a very stupid lamp, let's be real honest. But that's kind of the point. Everybody wants to win something. So it's easy for people to fall prey to these kind of things.
Yeah.
All right.
Investment scams. This is a little bit.
Now we're getting into our
a
world,
little bit
right?
more up our alley, right? But if someone's promising big returns with big profits
Mm-hmm.
And no risk, that's the
there it is.
The added catalyst right there. That's something to be aware of. Obviously, the Bernie Madoff scandal most recently is a huge deal, and there was all kinds of celebrities. I saw Kevin Bacon was talking about it recently. Again, he was a big victim of the Bernie Madoff thing, where it was a Ponzi scheme, and
the sheer volume of people that got caught up in that particular one is really still amazing to me.
Yeah, and it's just once again it kind of preys upon people's emotions of wanting to chase these big, larger than life returns, because everyone wants to feel like they're doing something with their investments, getting something for nothing. Right?
If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I mean, that was something that I was taught when I was a kid, and boy, is it still true. And this is a great example.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of movies about this.
Oh,
you got The Boiler Room and Wolf of Wall Street. So these are very, very real things that a lot of people, very, very smart, educated people, have been caught up in. So to me, this is probably one of the most important ones to watch out for, because this is kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing, coming to talk to you about something very legitimate. Something we talk about. This is what we do for a living, right? And certainly we want to talk about helping you to make money and helping your money make money and investing, and it's all very, very important.
Right.
But someone's doing it under the guise of helping you, but really they're promising these outsized returns, and we can do something that nobody else can do. And once again, going back to your point,
with minimal risk,
right? Because no one wants to take a risk, but everyone wants to make returns. So you just need to watch out for that, because this has gotten a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely. And I would add to it, I'm going to go back to this over and over and over again. It wasn't this exact one, but my mother, God rest her soul, fell for a scam that to this day, we don't know how much it cost. She went to her grave on that one. We're talking about educated people. Mom had a master's degree, right? We're not talking about fools here. These people are really, really good at convincing you to do what they want you to do. So just don't think because you're smart or you're educated that you're not a target, because actually it's easier to target people who are convinced that they're too smart for this.
So along those lines, not just necessarily investment scams,
Mhm.
collectible scams,
Okay.
right? And I don't even know because I don't watch daytime TV at
Right.
all, so I have no idea what. But I know growing up there were all kinds of, these collectible plates and
Oh my
collectible
gosh, yes. And coins and
collectible gold coins, and I'm sure all of that stuff 100% probably still exists.
limit 4.
Yeah. They're going to go up in value,
Uh-huh.
all these different collectibles, whatever they may be, and people treat them like Beanie Babies or something, right? And so that's another one that kind of along those same lines as investment scams. That's another one to watch out for. You might even be getting a legitimate product.
Yeah.
But you're 100% being sold a bill of goods on
bingo. It's not that the product's not legit. It's that you're being sold on the concept that this is valuable and that it will increase in value. It's collectible, whatever the case might be. When it's a coin that's been painted by a machine.
Yeah.
Or it's not worth anywhere close to what they're selling it to you for, because if it was, they wouldn't be selling it to you, right?
Well, if they're selling you gold coins on late night TV, it's
yeah. Okay.
Phishing scams. So
to me, this is the most common one out there because we see it so much.
So we were talking about this before, and we were talking about just the sheer number of phishing scams that we receive now via email.
Yeah.
Into personal email, into my work email, into every email server that I own. We have all the stuff on our email to block this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It still gets through.
Right.
We get emails from our own company.
I love it when I get an email from, we were talking to one of the young ladies that works here. She got an email from somebody else in the office just yesterday. I love it when I get emails from a department in my company.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
Right? I love that one.
We get an email from our payroll department.
Yes.
From our HR department, right? And click on this link and see your pay stub. And no, okay, that's not what we do.
And that's really the key there is click on something.
Yeah.
Right. Man, how many of these have you gotten today? Right. It's not unusual for me to get 5 to 10 of these per day. Now I'm sure you're probably the same way. I probably get 150 emails a day. Most of them are, they're not just client emails. Most of them are their sales
newsletters,
right?
And whatever.
Newsletters. Yeah. They're companies that are trying to do business. They're salesy, but they're not fraudulent. They're not trying to steal from me. They're trying to get us to do business with their company for whatever reason. But I get probably 5, maybe 7 a day that are legitimate phishing. If I click on that, I'm going to be giving some information up that I do not want to be giving up. And we were talking about this one before we started recording. A few years ago, we laughed about some of these, right? Because they were so incredibly stupid, but they're getting good. And they're getting good to the point that you start looking at legitimate emails and start kind of dissecting it before you touch it, because it looks like something that could be phishing, because the phishing emails are really getting sophisticated. This one probably scares me as much as any of them.
Well, I remember going through training at old jobs years ago about phishing emails and what to look out for. And these examples were so bad. I was like, yeah, clearly this is
right. It's
obviously not real. Who would ever fall for this? Well, they've gotten so much more advanced to the point that they're using logos for companies that we do business with, or companies that maybe we, solicit us, or would solicit our services, or our own logos, our own information.
Yeah, I've gotten stuff from us.
Yes, and you said you get 5 to 7 a day. No, you actually don't. You get far more than that.
Probably.
You only see 5 or 7 that are getting through
my filters, right?
That are getting through our filters. Because if you go to your junk email, trust me, you see a lot more of them. Oh. Not that I go there very often, but every now and then I'm like, man, we get a lot of junk. And that's just on my work email. Personal email, it's still almost to the point I can't even look at my personal email anymore.
I have to wonder, how many personal emails do I have? Because the older ones are so full of junk, I don't check them anymore. I don't even know how to check them anymore.
Yeah.
I've had to move on. And it's because they're so full of not just junk, but phishing. There's another one that we've been talking about email, but I'm seeing this more and more in text messages.
Yep, I'm definitely.
So we were talking about this. I got one earlier today it had the post office logo, USPS, right? It was it was crappy looking, to be really honest, but I've seen better ones than this. And then it had a 6-digit code. And then it had a PDF. It was 3 different text messages that I got in a span of 10 seconds. And all you got to do is click on that PDF. Now, remember, we're not talking about on your computer where you can look at it. Don't double click it, right? Or don't single click it for that matter. This was on text. All I got to do is touch it on accident, and I open it up, and I just gave away God only knows how much information.
Yeah.
And I'll tell on myself a little bit. The post office one is a legitimate one. When it comes down to scams, this one was kind of obvious that they were trying to fish for something. I fell for one of these 2 or 3 years ago. I got a thing from the post office that said that they had to verify my package. Now, I am like so many other families out there. We have so much stuff that gets delivered to our house. I don't even remember what I've ordered. I got an email right before we started today that said that my delivery had been dropped off at my house.
Or you don't know what the wife
I don't even
ordered,
remember what we ordered. I really don't.
Happens all the time. I come home, there's a package on the door. Honey, what is this?
Exactly. And my wife will go, I don't remember what I ordered. And you can get mad at her, but I'm as guilty as she is.
It's like Christmas in July.
So, we've even joked that Santa Claus, for the last few years that our kids were into Santa Claus came with a little smile on the box, right? Mm-hmm. This one looked legit. I had never seen it before, and I clicked on it. Took me a little while. Mm-hmm. Luckily for me, I don't use debit cards, right? In fact, all of the credit cards that I use are through one company. I just use an American Express. That particular company, love them or hate them, they're really, really good at taking care of you when you've done something stupid like I did. And that's kind of the point. It's easy to fall for these things. I clicked on it and then immediately went, what did I just do?
Oh, darned.
Oh, yeah. We got it cleaned up because I've got all the things in place to protect myself and my family. Yeah. But it was still a pain. So that's why these are so dangerous, because they're so easy to fall for and they're so common that you don't even realize it's hitting you.
So one more utility scams. This is kind of going along with, home repair scams or government imposter scams. You get a call from the utility company. Your utilities are about to be turned off. The water's about to be turned off unless you make a payment. Once again, you're probably going to get a letter in the mail. You're not
right. Utility companies work like the government.
Frequently,
they are the government.
Yeah,
right.
So
they send the mail. I mean, we've all had this one. I actually had my water get turned off at my last house. Mm-hmm. I was in the shower. It was a bad day. I was late for work that day. Water got turned off at my house. I called the water company up and I went off and they said, no, Mr. Vaughn, your water has not been turned off. I've got suds all over me. I know for a fact the water's been turned off. The point is, they don't do this stuff by phone or by email. It was the neighbor who was moving out.
Yeah.
And they had turned off the wrong house, as it turns out. That's the way this kind of stuff really works. They send you letters and tell you, we're going to turn it off because you haven't paid the bill. They come to your house and do it because you've asked them to do it, because you're moving or something like that. They do not call you. They do not send you emails. And they definitely don't ask for payment through a non-traditional means of paying your utilities.
For sure. So any other ones that come to mind?
There's so many out there. Here's one that I would pick on people that's along these lines. It is so easy to steal people's passwords because, and we referenced this a while ago, you don't want to give out information because you may say, well, they're not going to scam me. I'm only giving a little bit. But they're picking up a little bit of information here, a little bit of information there. And there was this other thing that they managed to pick up on because you sent an email that you shouldn't have and had some, confidential information in it. They don't get everything for the scam in one place. They pick it up from a lot of different places, and that's how people get burned. Mm-hmm. So that's where you just don't give this stuff out to sources other than for a fact this is who I want to be doing business with or who I want to give this information to. And I don't care how smart you are, my dad. These people are really, really good at scamming people like you. You are a target for a reason.
Yep. Well said.
Love you, Dad, even though I pick on you all the time.
Let's talk bourbon.
All right. Let's talk whiskey. There you go. What do you think? I'm going to go with you probably were not a big fan.
I'm not a fan at all.
Really? Interesting. So is it just didn't have a flavor that you liked or
it?
And you'll notice we're using a smaller glass today because that's what was available to us. I poured a second one because I really liked it.
Bitter.
Really?
I don't like it at all.
That's interesting. See, to me, it tasted like black pepper. Oh, no. Right? Which, quite honestly, I like that flavor. But that's the whole point. American whiskey has a different flavor to it when it's not bourbon.
It tastes like cheap whiskey to me. Very cheap. I don't like it at all.
Interesting.
And I've not. This is the foolproof, right? So I've not had the regular.
I can tell you the regular one. I don't know anybody who likes the regular one. But, okay, you're just proving the point. You put a famous person's name on it.
Yeah.
Or you put a really cool story behind it. Maybe you did that for a reason.
I put some water in it. I put a couple drops just to try to dilute it a little bit.
Nothing?
No, did not like it. I don't like it.
All right. So no more got somebody's name on it, right?
I'm trying to think of a one that we did like. The only one I can think of that I remember that was okay was Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey was behind The Statesman, which is an Old Forester when they came out with that movie.
Yes, that one wasn't bad.
That one was okay. It wasn't great.
We did one several years ago on a previous version of this podcast. We did the blackened one, which was the Metallica one. And we said at the time, this is a great bourbon for somebody who's not a bourbon drinker yet and they want to start gentle, right?
Yeah.
If you're a bourbon drinker, you were not a fan of that because it needed a little bit more oomph, which is, as a Metallica fan,
yeah,
I really wanted that one to be good.
Well, that one was gimmicky too because
it was extremely
wasn't there
gimmicky.
something with like sound waves or something?
Yeah, their thing was that they pumped Metallica music through speakers into the barrels.
Yeah.
Which, that's a gimmick, right? It sounds cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to do that, but I'm not trying to age myself. The gray is coming in very naturally, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any celebrity endorsed bourbon or whiskey that I've liked.
There's not one that I can think of. I can think of one right off the top of my head that is not a whiskey, that is actually really good for what it is. And that's Aviation Gin, which is
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. But that's also a $30 bottle of gin. And if you're not a gin drinker, you're not going to try that anyway.
I've not had it.
I'm not a big gin drinker, but I can tell you, as gin goes, it's pretty good. But I don't think he's just like the celebrity that's pushing it. If I remember correctly, he owns that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a little bit different. I have not tried.
I will say the tequila, the George Clooney. It's George Clooney and
I have not tried that one.
It's George Clooney and I believe Cindy Crawford's husband.
Okay.
I forgot the guy's name.
I don't know.
But I think they have a joint. It's like I'm blanking on the name of their tequila.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good tequila.
Okay.
Sammy Hagar's.
That's the one I was going to. I have not tried that one.
Was okay.
I would like to. That's Cabo Wabo.
Yeah,
something?
that one's okay. That one's pretty good. The Rocks tequilas.
I haven't tried that. Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg's tequila is not very good.
You're kind of proving the point. Most of the celebrity endorsed ones are outside of the bourbon and whiskey world, and the ones that are in the whiskey world. I know Alan Jackson has a whiskey. I didn't realize that.
I haven't tried it. I know there's some others, but it's just I just ignore them when I see them at the store.
Mm-hmm. I hate to be this way, but I think that's exactly what we need to be doing. Let's just avoid those.
I feel like old man on the lawn, right?
Right. Yeah. Get off my lawn. Yeah. No, I think we need to stick to what made whiskey great. Let's not. Now, I do like this one. Is it my favorite? No. If it was $70 a bottle, I wouldn't like it at all. This is a under $50 bottle, foolproof. I have not tried this in a cocktail or anything like that. When you said that you got a little bit of a bitter flavor, a lot of times that's really good in old fashioned where you're putting the sugar part into it. So it's a good counterbalance. I haven't tried it, but now all of a sudden I'm thinking maybe I should just to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Personally,
I'm not going to
I
spend the
like
money
this
on
one.
it to find it. So.
I like this one, but one of the reasons I like it is it's very inexpensive. So to each his own, right?
Yeah, but you can finish mine.
Oh, what time is it? Yeah, okay. I think let's wrap it up with scams and celebrity endorsed whiskey.
Celebrity bourbon, yeah, celebrity whiskey. That's probably a good place to end it. So, don't get scammed by celebrity endorsed whiskey.
Oh wow, was that a great way to wrap that one up?
That's a great way to wrap it up right there. So I can't top that.
Okay.
So thanks for joining us. Until next time, if anything that we have to say here resonates with anyone that you think might enjoy our content, please feel free to share it. We would greatly appreciate it. Go to our website, fwppartners.com. Click on the link to schedule a call with us. We would love to chat with you about any of your questions about investments or retirement planning or anything about doing life on purpose in general. We would love to discuss that with you. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.